Are first and foremost having a fantastic Thanksgiving, everybody. I was supposed to be off today, but ended up having to cover for somebody anyways last minute. So we did start the stream later than I had intended. I thought we were going to do a much longer stream earlier in the night, but better late than never. A lot of crazy stuff happening. We talked about Probstein, Rick Probstein, and that whole dumpster fire. It looks like a lot of people are talking about that now and giving updates on that now. I feel like the community is going to be super mindful of getting into any of those auctions in the future, but maybe it just doesn't matter because people are going to continue record auctions on these cards. In other news, Ascended Heroes, you guys, I hope, are getting lucky on your pickups. We've had also a lot of other new leaks. All right, we've got a cute derpy Pikachu that was recently leaked. We've got a Zoroark artwork that was leaked, and we have the Dragonite artwork that was leaked, along with showing the evolution line, which is pretty cool. Depending on who you are, what you think about the card. I personally think that the card is pretty dope. Honestly, as a big Dragonite fan myself, I would love to have the first edition Fossil Dragonite in a PSA 10, which also, to bring that up, there was a record sale on that for $20,000 that was posted in our Discord. Thank you for everybody that's in our Discord while I have my head in the sand who posts stuff that's going on in the hobby, kind of keeping me updated as well when I usually have a good idea of what's going on in the hobby, what cards are going for. But I've been kind of taking a break, and I think things are cooling off. I think everybody's taking a break. There's a lot of crash talk. What do you guys think about that? Is the hobby finally correcting the way it should? Is it just like every other market out there? It's just taking a while for our bubble to burst. Or will it be a minor setback type deal? Pokemon time and time again has proven to be a very safe spot to park your money, but also in general is one of the most incredible hobbies, most incredible TCGs and franchises ever. So it would not shock me if Pokemon continued to rise in popularity. It is a young hobby. It's a young TCG. And we were talking about this tonight with some people in the bar that were kind of skeptical of me, buying Pokemon cards and especially buying some of the Pokemon cards that I bought. And it was funny kind of telling people like, look, like, geez, if it was a bubble, it would have popped years ago. So I'm skeptical of the hobby. I'm cautious of the hobby. At the same time, rooting for it. And again, most importantly, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I was able to set up the stream despite getting off work late. I was able to set up the stream pretty much in record time and just get right to it. Anyways, Tuscan, how we doing? Card Collector, how we doing? Mike, how we doing? Turtle, how we doing? Yeah, the September slump and then Santa rally every year. Now, I think we were hoping to get that in the stock market last year, and there ended up not being any kind of Santa rally. I don't know if the same will happen with Pokemon. Pokemon operates on a completely different level from everything else. So, but yeah, what did you guys think about the latest card leaks? What did you think about the cards? I know, Turtle, you pointed out that Pikachu. You like that derpy Pikachu. You thought he was pretty cute. I think it's better than the big booty Pikachu from Surging Sparks. I'll say that. I'm not crazy about the card. I would say I am kind of nutty for that Dragonite. As much as I don't like the wings and the design, the wings seem to be an afterthought in the newest Dragonite leak, and it looks like it's a pretty awesome Mega Dragonite. Mewtwo looks cheeks. The Mewtwo is kind of interesting. Doesn't look all that special to me. I will definitely talk about cards that I think really jump out at me. I'd say the Zoroark, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the Zoroark, it looks pretty outstanding. But yeah, overall, I'm kind of just like, you know what, like, most of modern chugging along, popular, not exactly for me. I'm still behind on Surging Sparks, on Journey Together, on Destined Rivals. There's so many slabs. There's so many cards that I still want to get. And hopefully in these next couple months, maybe I'll take a slight break from buying vintage cards. I'll dive my feet back into, I'll dip my toes into some modern. We'll see. Definitely interested to see what everybody thinks about these cards, and what everybody's doing in general in the hobby, in life. Just checking in with everybody. Harry Potter, how we doing? I appreciate it, Curtis. I appreciate it. Daniel Radcliffe is a stud. Kendall, I don't even know what a shitter. I don't even know what that is. But good to have you out here. Geo, how we doing? Jurassic Jack, how we doing? About a third of the SIRs and IRs haven't been revealed for Ascended Heroes yet. That's why the Zard SIR, that's where the Zard Y SIR should come from. Very exciting. Very exciting. I would also like an update on the Phantasmal Flames Charizard, Mega Charizard. I'd like to know where that's going, where that's floating around right now. In the December Battle Deck. Nice. Nice. Yeah, let's see. What do we have going on? I'd like to talk about what's going on with modern sealed products. Are they coming down in price? I wondered why, what was it? Kira made her video with the thumbnail that Pokemon is finally crashing with the portfolio thumbnail, the collector portfolio thumbnail kind of dumping. Is that happening across the board? And if it is, I think it's probably happening within the modern space. I don't think that we are necessarily having that kind of crash in vintage, but it would be a long time coming, and it would be good to see a retrace in vintage cards. I don't know if anybody has the collector app and they have a bunch of vintage cards on that app or in their portfolio, if they can see what's going on there. I don't think the vintage cards are dropping in price anytime soon. People are super stubborn right now with those cards. I'm having a hard time getting any deals. Hot take, I don't like the Flames. I don't like the Phantasmal Flames Charizard. Is it all hype? Is it a hype beast card? Will that card end up dumping soon and not being such a hype beast card? That would be interesting to see. And everybody is entitled to their opinions, right? What do you guys think of that Mega Gengar? The Mega Gengar looks pretty dope. Even if you're not a Gengar fan, that card looks pretty awesome. Definitely curious what you guys think of that one. I am really nervous and excited. There's that first edition Sabrina's Gengar up for grabs this week. I don't know if I'll have a fighting chance at getting that card. I'm sure it'll be shill bid to oblivion, but it would be nice to have that card in my collection. But the more I look at the price tag, the more I'm like, dude, PSA 9 cards for vintage are the move right now. I've got to stop making it about the exclusivity of having some of these cards when at the end of the day, it is changing my quality of living. And I'm changing my quality of living, right? This new house is a lot more expensive than our old house. And, you know, I'm juggling the urge to buy more cards and then versus paying down my loan on this house. Also, for any of you that are looking at buying a home, I'll go off on a tangent since we still have a small group in here. Right now, the rates have dropped, and I was able to, if I wanted to, I'm not going to because it would cost me about $21,000 to refinance our loan on this house. It would be interesting if they made refinancing free at some point in the future. That would be very interesting. That did happen in the 2008 housing crisis. I know this because my dad was telling me about it. But I was able to go from a 6.625% rate on this house to a 5.99% rate on this house. The closing costs outweighed any of the savings I would have on my new payments, so I decided not to refinance today. But I thought that was interesting, and I wonder if it's an indicator of other markets, including stock market, the card market. You know, the house, we've had all these markets have been running really, really hot, and it's good to see some things change. It's good to know that maybe the Fed is going to give us a rate cut here in December, and that will also make home buying more affordable. The housing market is opening up for people again. I'm seeing stuff in Charlotte, North Carolina for about $300,000 to $400,000. I'm seeing some really good prices on some homes here in Charlotte. And even my house, the market value on my house dipped quite a bit. It dipped from around $720,000 to $680,000. We bought the house for $690,000. So that's some pretty crazy changes. I wonder what they indicate about the market. And then my stock holding today did well. It trended up. So I'm very confused on what's going on in the market. We're getting different mixed signals from all over the place. Some top level CEO executives have pointed out that we are not going to have a recession in this upcoming year, which would be great, honestly, to get one more good year and then maybe a severe retrace and everything across the board. That would be awesome. Phantasmal Flames as an entire set. The set is small. Maybe we don't like that. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are probably, there's always something to be upset about in Pokemon. People are never fully happy with anything in Pokemon, really, myself included. I'm very critical on every set that we get. I have been since I sold a lot of my modern sets. And since I started buying heavily back into vintage cards again, I've been really critical about a lot of modern. And a lot of the pricing, a lot of the manipulation. I'm very curious on what that Marshadow. I really would still like to get that Marshadow in my collection, the Marshadow Pikachu card that we had recently. I'm very curious on what that card is settling at. I personally like the fact that Phantasmal Flames is a smaller set. Grooves, don't buy anything right now. Even vintage will be cheaper in 4 to 6 months. Grooves, I would love to hear some of your rationale behind that and get some ideas from you guys. Now that we're getting the juices flowing in here. I would be buying like crazy, but I'm analysis paralysis mode from selling my 151 slabs to get money for buying. Lamar's rate cut equals more loans equals more spending equals yay, more cards, woohoo. That could be the case, right? It affects the stock market in a big way today. My QuantumScape holdings are rising again. Thank God for the rate cuts. Are the rate cuts enough to get me back to where my portfolio holdings are at a break even again? I'm not even going to talk numbers, but God, I had a lot. I had a lot of liquid money in my account recently, and I was playing with fire. And so I need the market to turn around big time, especially in the tech sector, especially for speculative stuff like the stuff that I'm in, like QuantumScape. I need the tech sector to turn around because I need enough money to pay my short-term capital gains from all of the day trading that I was doing and the swing trading, whatever you want to call it, I was doing, selling all of the pops and all the little rips here and there. I need enough money back in that account to cover that and also still profit. So I am really hoping we get a Santa rally come December. Also, it would be nice to free up some money to buy some more cards. Was just working on my displays. Nice. There's nothing like displaying your cards perfectly. Once I set up the display like we had in the old game room, I basically said, you know what, this is good enough for me. The Dark Wizard, what's the perfect set size? God, I don't even know how to answer that. The perfect set size, man, it's super subjective. Oh, damn. Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving turkey coma has already fallen upon me. I am already feeling like Thanksgiving is here. You know, you guys probably know exactly what I mean when you have a huge Thanksgiving dinner and you just get that food coma. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a pre-whiff of that. Happy Thanksgiving time. I pulled the Mega Charizard, by the way. Ray, congratulations on pulling the Mega Charizard. That is an absolute beast of a card, and congratulations on that. Malin, how we doing? Jackson, Dennis, you look like an American Harry Potter adaptation. Nice. I feel that with the Disney stash. I feel that you should do a set based on Thanksgiving. What would fit? Man, what would be a good Thanksgiving set? That's that's an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know what would fit good for a Thanksgiving set. Um, you know what reminds me of Thanksgiving? The ho-oh. Ho-oh reminds me of a Thanksgiving turkey. So I feel like, you know what? Right now, ho-oh cards. Would be a crazy take, but ho-oh cards could go on a tear for the Thanksgiving season. But that probably would never happen. Luciano, hey, greetings from Argentina. Greetings. It's always cool to have people all around the world pop into these streams. It's always a treat. Glutton Pokemon, what's it called? Oh, the Garbodor. Maybe the Garbodor? Oh, you know what? Snorlax. Snorlax is everything that embodies Thanksgiving. Lots of eating, lots of sleeping, lots of relaxing. It's an amazing time. I love Thanksgiving. It's always a good time of year. It's a holiday that isn't predicated on just spending money on people and consumerism. And granted, buying a bunch of stuff for Thanksgiving dinner is a little consumer driven, but it's really just a time to gather around, be thankful, be around people that you love and care about. And that's something that we need more of in this hobby in general. And I hope that someday my bar will serve, well, I don't even want to call it a bar anymore, my venue. I hope that my venue will serve as a place where people can gather, play video games, trade Pokemon cards, bring in their slabs. That's like something I'm waiting on, right? My friend group at the bar, no one's really into Pokemon yet. As much as I've talked about it, it's just not their shtick. And it's just crazy with how popular the hobby seems. There's still so many people that I always try to get into it, and they're just like, I just don't get it. I just don't see how you could spend this kind of money on these cards. And I'm like, if you were into it, you would get it. You would get it. Once you go down the rabbit hole, you get sucked into it. But yeah, I'd like my venue to be more of a place where everyone can share their hobbies and just talk shop constantly. That's a crazy collection. I don't collect Pokemon, and that's okay too. That's the thing with this channel and these streams. Like, it's like talking Pokemon with the boys, whatever is going on in the hobby. If you guys see anything or any hot topics or any drama, we could talk about it here. But also just in general, talking about life, talking about the world, talking about reality. And just also giving like life updates and things. I love doing these streams. They're super chill, super easy. We just run and gun, shoot from the hip. Love that. And for some reason, I have way less anxiety doing streams than I do making videos. I don't know what the deal with that is. Maybe because I know that if I do an hour or 2 hour stream, I'm like, nobody's watching that, right? I'm not like worried about anything that I say or anything that pops up in the stream. Whereas people will be super critical on a 15, 20-minute video. How much do you use AI in your daily life? Just wondering, since you seem largely bearish on AI, at least short term. I don't know if I'm largely bearish on AI short term. I personally don't use AI really at all. I really don't use AI at all. My wife probably uses ChatGPT more than I ever did. I don't even think I used ChatGPT once, guys. Which would be interesting in terms of making content and getting basically a handout on just like what's hot, what are trending topics. But I think AI is going to continuously be a factor in our lives. And I think with Google wanting to get really, really into AI, there's just going to be a race to AI and scaling that up. And I don't know. I think right now a lot is hinged on this AI trend and on this bubble. I know a lot of people focus on AI to guide them in life right now. I feel like a lot of people are using it in ways that I haven't even taken into account. But I think it's going to be big, and I think it could offer some room for everything, the market to grow in terms of the stock market. I think a lot of that is hinged on AI, is hinged on NVIDIA, and the rates. But I think right now the biggest thing is the rates and AI. I just wish I knew more about it, right? I don't know how necessarily they're going to scale AI up, and I don't know if the numbers are just being pumped for how important AI is. Is this another dot-com bubble? I don't even know a lot about the dot-com bubble to say that, to say that I can speak on this AI bubble. But I used to play the games when I was younger. My favorite was Trico. Dude, Trico is sick. We got our boy Trico up here. 305, how we doing? No one died, not yet at least. Luciana, yeah, I get it. Personally collect Lego. Dude, Lego's dope. Collect what you like. But I don't know anybody else who collects around me. I have more friends at the bar that do Lego than do Pokemon. And it would be fun too to like get some of my friends, from the bar, people that come and go. It'd be fun to get them into it and kind of be like, yeah, I think this card's really dope from the newer set. If you're gonna go for one card, this would be the one I would think to go after, just to start your collection. It would be cool to kind of guide people into what to go after. And I guess that's kind of what I do on YouTube a little bit. I just haven't really talked up Modern as much. Grooves, we are now at the wait and see period of collecting. Right. It is more speculative now than it has ever been. No longer is anyone scared of not being able to get low pop cards like they once were during the summer boom. Myself included, I was FOMOing like crazy. And now there's like, 5, 6, 7, 8 first edition Sabrina Gengars? That card is only 105 population in the entire world, but there's several, almost 10 of them on eBay right now for reasonable prices, at least what I think, not reasonable prices, but the market, what people are trying to get for it. This is great for me though, because my fear is that these things are going to get scooped up, that people are going to try to buy everything out. So it would be good if people are really taking a step back and really looking at this from a different perspective. Good time to watch the drop. Man, I hope. I'm both fearful of it and confident that regardless what happens, I'll be happy holding on to my collection. But no one wants to get caught at the top. That is for sure. I think a lot of vendors, a lot of the people holding on to some of these low pop cards have enough money where they can really just sit on it. And so that is another fear that I have, is that they're not itching to get their money back out. They'll just sit on this stuff, which makes it kind of tough to say that those cards are going to plateau or drop in value. The only thing that could help with that is people grading more copies hitting the market, going for auction, and then us seeing the true value. Are people that are sitting on these cards, are they willing to continue sitting on that bag and continuing to buy up these cards to keep the prices stable? This is, very interesting time as far as that goes. The Justin, if all goes well, should be signing papers on the lease for a shop on Monday. Justin, super proud of you, man. I'm happy for you, dude. That's a huge step to take. In anybody's life, opening up a business is a really big endeavor. Ani Life, Orion is a nerd now. Good evening, Orion. How we doing? I'm back to nerding. Turtle, I use ChatGPT for everything. If you can think it, you can basically figure out a way to do it. It's helped me in so many ways I couldn't fathom, especially with my business. That's awesome. And also, very telling of the future of it, and maybe more and more people will be using it. They will be scaling it up, and it will prop up the market for maybe a whole other year or two. This could be a time to be buying up Pokemon while things are in a lull, and then boom, this upcoming spring, summer, we are about to see another massive bomb get dropped. We've got the anniversary just around the corner. It could get crazy again. It most likely will get crazy again. Let's be honest, Pokemon has continued to absolutely shock us. I've been busy with work lately, so I can't check in Discord or watch YouTube videos. That's all right, man. And that's the other thing, is people have to get back to their lives. How long can Pokemon demand the attention of all of this generation that's been so involved in it? We've got so many new content creators. Will they fizzle out? Will they be here for the long haul? I know it seemed like I've fizzled out maybe a little bit, which is fair. It's just fair and partly true. But at the same time, I have more on my plate than I've ever had. And YouTube making videos has just become less of a priority for me, honestly. And I'm grateful to do these streams and get a chance to connect with everybody this way. And that's the thing. At least we do this every week no matter what, or at least we try to. There are the occasional times where I just say, you know what, guys, I'm beat. I can't do a stream tonight, especially if I've worked the same night. Luciano, what are your thoughts on scalpers? I'm not... who's a fan of scalpers, right? I don't think anybody's happy with people cleaning out the shelves. But it's also a necessary evil, I guess. It's a part of the hobby. It's, what was so thrilling about Pokemon is people could buy product and sell it immediately on the market. And so, you've got scalpers in everything that you do. There's going to be a part of new consoles or new trending clothing or sneakers. It's always going to be around. But I think it's also necessary for scalpers to learn a hard lesson too. When Pokemon finally decides to really print this stuff like crazy, scalpers are going to be the first people to unload all this stuff and just want to get rid of it so that they can still pay rent, pay other bills. And I think that's going to help mellow out the market a little bit. Equally, I think you are going to have a lot of people that have been in this hobby a long time and kind of know that long-term, a lot of this stuff is still going to end up trending up and will continue to march forward in value. And they're going to be buying up stuff. It's so hard to say what's going to happen. We have so many more new people in the hobby. Scalpers basically dumping product back onto the market. If that happens, will it be enough to really cool things down and give everybody a long opportunity, months of opportunity to buy up this stuff at more reasonable prices? I don't hope for the hobby to crash. I just hope for things to be reasonable for a period of time before they get bubbly again, which I do fully expect to happen, as it always does. Tammy, what's your most rare Pokemon? My most rare card, and a card that I was kind of obsessed with for a long time. So much so that when I lost auctions on this card, lost opportunities on this card, I genuinely got super, super depressed just about the whole hobby and just pessimistic. And that's one thing that I feel like I've gotten better at. When I lose an opportunity on a card, I always tell myself, dude, there's going to be another one. There's going to be another one coming down the line. But the card that I'm referring to is probably my first edition base set Charizard. Now, my most valuable card might not be that card. It might actually be my PSA 10 Crystal Charizard from the PSA 10 Skyridge Charizard. Value-wise, that one might be worth more. PSA 9 Gold Star Rayquaza, that one seems like it's creeping up in value too and becoming a contender with my Charizard cards. But I would say my first edition base set Zard. It's always been something I'm super, super proud of. One of the most iconic cards in the English TCG, and just where everything starts, really, as far as like absolute grail cards go, that are main set cards, that are mass-produced cards. That Charizard, I think, is one of the just top tier cards you could have in a collection. And while mine is not the cleanest, strongest 9, it's got some nice surface scratches on it and some whitening on the backside. I'm happy to have one. I'm happy to have one. It is one of those situations where it's a little more buying the grade and not the card. It's a pretty clean copy. Would it get a 9 in today's standards? Maybe with a cleanup, maybe with someone wiping the card down, probably, but most likely would get an 8 in today's standard. I don't think it would get a 7, honestly, just because it is a super rare, high-value card. It's actually not even a super rare card. Maybe it could get a 7 in today's standards. But still one of my favorite cards. I love that I finally got one in a 9 a year ago, and I never thought I was going to upgrade from a 5. I never thought I was going to upgrade from a 5. I'm super blessed and grateful to say that the bar business has improved. My life has improved in so many aspects, allowing me to buy some of these more expensive cards. And soon, hopefully, I can day trade and my stock investing and all that will pay off. And I can actually just have some more freedom to just do whatever I want. And that would be helpful. It would be helpful for buying products to rip for streams. It would be helpful for achieving my vintage goals. But yeah, my competitive nature, most important thing for me right now is to continue keeping my head down, working as hard as I can so that I can afford to buy some of these Grail cards like this first edition Sabrina's Gengar, which it'll be very telling to see if this card goes below all of the list prices. Jackson, Braviary or Unpheasant Turkey, definitely. Yep, you got it. Gulpin. Gulpin's probably up there for the Thanksgiving vibe. Pokemon. Turtle, my thoughts on the Pokemon market is regardless of what happens, we should still have some kind of rebound, still see all-time highs for cards again in the spring or summer, and I'm pretty much in agreement with that. History tells us a lot of what we need to know and already know, and that tends to be the trend. And being in this hobby, even for the last couple of years, it's kind of easy to see that. Kazu, how we doing? Turtle, the modern Pokemon market has continuously proven itself to have volatility every few months. Something or someone always causes something to happen. At the same time, right, someone makes a video, a content creator really starts talking up certain cards from the Scarlet Violet SIR, type of block era style. When someone starts talking those up and they have a really good following, like a lot of content creators are just, their channels are exploding. Mine is not. That's okay. I also need to put more of the effort in. But I think when people start talking about it again, it will be one of those things where it kind of takes off. And honestly, where are you going to look to, right? Vintage is dried up. I mean, again, my whole argument of 9s will be the next thing. And then people will be talking about buying a 7 or 8 of a vintage Grail card that they love is cooler than buying something modern. That will eventually be a conversation, I think, at some point. Another conversation to have is a lot of the stuff from the Sun and Moon era, the Black White era, a lot of that mid-era modern and kind of the beginning of the alt arts, a lot of that stuff was still much lower production and much lower quality. So I do think with higher production, higher quality, I think it's going to be a much slower growth, which is good. I think we'll make a lot of these modern SIR and alt arts, I think it'll make them a lot more available for a longer period of time. But you will always have the hype train for some cards like the Bubble Mew. Can someone tell me what the Paldean Fates Bubble Mew is going at? I would like to know if I have a chance that that card may be below $1,500. So crazy. Would still like to get one. Austin, anyone have a PS4 Pro empty box I could buy off without paying scalping prices? How we doing, Austin? BCTCG, how we doing? Fortress, how we doing? Ani, seeing people max out their credit cards to scalp Pokemon products is just wild to see. And while I haven't seen a lot of examples of that, I imagine with human behavior and how I've behaved with maxing out my credit cards in the past, or credit card, singular, I can see it happening. I am fully willing to put myself in short-term debt to buy the cards that I want. That's basically what I did with the Skyridge Gengar. And I bought, to be fair, it wasn't just that card. I bought a 9 as well, and I also bought many other cards that I've added to my collection recently. So the fact that I only have about the price that I paid for the Skyridge Gengar left on my card, I should get that paid off, should be a priority. But again, I'm willing to put myself in that kind of situation for some of these cards, as long as that card, yeah, it'll be good. I would say as long as that card stays above $25,000 in value, I'll be I'll be content with that decision. But I'm also not totally against it dropping in value drastically to have another chance to buy another one of those and maybe cost average down. Um, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I love Skyridge Gengar. I wish I would have bought them much sooner. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden wanting to buy that card like crazy, but it's one of my all-time new favorite cards. Right up there with the Charizard cards. It's not crazy though to me to see it. I think it's somewhat disappointing, but it's not crazy to see it because I think everybody wants to make money quick. And if everyone thinks that Pokemon is an area where they can make money quick, of course they're going to max out the credit cards. Of course they're going to say, hey, short term this is going to hurt, but long term this is going to pay off. A lot of people are going to learn the hard way that this is going to be a slow grind and that they have to have an easy way to sell this stuff, and that if everybody else in their city is doing the same thing, then product becomes super abundant. People just pump the brakes. It'll be really interesting how everything unravels here. And will people be critical of the creators that have been saying these are products to buy? Are people going to be critical when they're not getting those same short-term gains? Long-term, they'll be taken care of eventually, but that's another thing. People don't want to deal with that. People who are very sensitive to their budget and being financially stable, they are going to be rocked by the market not doing what they want it to do. Passed my 214 Florida life insurance exam today. Dude, congratulations on that. Jackson, it's funny, at my grocery store I work at, stocking shelves, we had a sale on butter and we sold over 1,000 in a day. And we had a limit of 4, I think, per person. I guess it helps to stop butter scalpers. Yeah, that's what they need to do. Well, that's what they're trying to do in Pokemon. It doesn't work. People always find a way. Man, we just found this amazing Amish butter, since we're on the topic of butter, guys. We found this amazing Amish butter from Food Lion. It is kick-ass. Best butter ever. Came in like a fat log. Never bought so much butter in my life. Good stuff. The Amish really know how to do it, man. Without those screens and without all those distractions, they make the best butter this world can fathom. Luciano, would you consider getting the Lego Pokemon sets coming next year? If my kids want to play with Legos, that's something they pick out at the store, sure. I am also dreading that, whether my kids will get into Pokemon or not. The other thing is I haven't really indoctrinated, Aspen or, Asher into Pokemon because I think that's dangerous. I think it's a beautiful thing to share with your kids, but I am a little bit wary of, I don't know, giving my kids less conventional upbringing than I had. I kind of do want them to be involved in, other more traditional hobbies and sports and school. But you know what? What happens, happens. If my kids decide Pokemon is badass and they want to be just like their dad, that's okay with me too. Something that I worry about a little bit. On that note, I would much rather them be into Legos and building and creating. But who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Grooves, Black Friday boxes have been up online for longer than I've seen in years. It's really good for the market overall. That is fantastic to say. I am glad to hear it. Most iconic trading card of any TCG. I'm guessing you're talking about the first ed Charizard. What's your favorite human character in Pokemon? That is a great question. You'd think it would be like Ash, right? But honestly, I'm a big fan of Blaine as a gym leader. I think a lot of the gym, I've been really into Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge lately. So I feel like Blaine is a pretty prolific character. It would be fucking awesome to get some updated modern takes on, Blaine, in his gym with some of these fire types. That would be really cool for me to see. Sabrina is a big one. As much as I'm not like big into like waifu or like girl characters, I think Sabrina holds a special place in my heart as the psychic gym leader. And also Misty's huge. Anything with Misty in it, I think is sick. Recently with the Destined Rivals, we had we had Misty's Psyduck. We also have a Misty Lapras. That's pretty badass. Lieutenant Surge is cool. It would be cool to get some updated modern takes on some Brock cards. Yeah. Not as much into, some of the more new characters, that came out later on, like Lily, or I know we have, a big Cynthia fan, with Cynthia's Garchomp, and just in general, people that collect, these trainer type cards. I know Lily, Cynthia, those are two very, very popular ones. And then, of course, Ethan and some of the Destined Rivals cards. How do you think, Ray, how do you think the new Mega Charizard will do in value? I just don't think it's right for any card to be swinging out the gate in this hobby over $1,000. I just don't think it's right. I think around $500 to $750 would be fair game for that card. Even in PSA 10. Even in PSA 10. Now, I need to know more. That's just like throwing out numbers that I would like. I need to know more. I need to know what the pull rates are like. I need to know what the gem rate is like, grading it at PSA. You can't really have the full story without all of these little things. Jackson, do you know what the rarest Pokemon card ever is? Is it the Pikachu Illustrator, the 1998 Japanese promo? I do believe the Pikachu Illustrator, I don't think is the rarest card ever. I think it is probably, with rarity, the most valuable card ever. But I think a lot of us could understand and say that there's a lot of very niche, weird cards out there that would be considered far rarer and still semi-well known. But value-wise, I would definitely go ahead and say that it's the Illustrator. Could some of the original Snap cards, could some of the original Snap Pokemon cards, surpass that in value? Could some other trophy cards maybe surpass that in value? Could we even see the mass-produced cards like the Charizards, because they're more available, more people can jump into a card like that? Could it have more popularity than something like the Illustrator that is just so hard to get people for them to get their hands on? In terms of the rarest, the Illustrator would still be rarer than the Charizards, but value-wise, I'm confident some of the mass-produced cards will actually peak in value beyond cards like the Illustrator. Because more people can rally behind mass-produced cards, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of my thought process. Blue Hunter, how we doing? What's good, Ryan? I appreciate you popping in. Austin, Market, you have PSA 4 Pro Box for sale? Question mark. Oh, and Market, how we doing? Sorry, bro. Didn't see you there. Jackson, it was never sold to the public. It was given out only to the winners. Yes, and that does make it a highly rare, iconic piece in the collection world. And I actually know a guy that had a CGC 8 and it converted to a PSA 7 and is now worth far more than it ever was in CGC. And that guy's one purchase and one mega trade for that card. It's crazy because I've spent way more on collecting cards in my collection, but his one Pikachu Illustrator is worth more than I believe my entire Grail briefcase, which is crazy to wrap my head around. Or it's very close, if not the same value, maybe even a little bit less than my whole briefcase. But I'm talking about my entire briefcase of Grail cards is basically worth what a PSA 7 Pikachu Illustrator is worth right now. At least I think. I feel like it's worth around like $180, $200, $300,000, something like that. CGC 9.5 is 600. I'm guessing you're referring to the Phantasmal Flames Mega Charizard. that would be great to see, because that's something that may be able to just cross over to a PSA 10. There are only 41 Pikachu illustrators. Now, I do want to say, if you're talking about the illustrator, I'm not sure if you're talking about the illustrator. Now, that may be PSA graded. There are also CGC graded copies. There's got to be more than 41 total graded in the world in general, though. I would expect. God, these glasses, I love them, but for whatever reason, man, they're really pinching my nose like hell. You don't know what a PlayStation 4 Pro is? Ray. But I think I think you'll explode soon. Just pump out anything that comes to your mind. I only found you by accident and hit the sub button shortly after. I appreciate that, Ray. Half of it is just discipline and sticking with it. He's looking for the box market. Turtle, have you thought about making another business or making a second bar instead of putting all your money into stocks or day trading? Or do you see more opportunity in it? The thing is, I could run another bar. It would take quite some capital and I would lose a lot of hair. I like what I've got going on. I like what I've got going on at the bar, but it's very hands-on. And it won't be a long time until it's hands-off and I'm just managing people. Trading, selling stocks, that's very, I mean, you're actively doing it, but it's fun. I get a hell of a kick out of it. Yes, there's the gambling mentality, but the liquidity, the ease of access to liquidity. I need to get to my money quickly so that I can move it around and do different things. And so trading and being involved with the stock market and learning more and more about it and learning about all the macro variables and how I can get better and better at the setups and knowing that, hey, this is technically set up to go down. I should take whatever profit I'm at and let this thing ride down, because there's gonna be some negative headwinds coming. Or the news about the rate cuts most definitely hitting in December right now, making the market bullish. In my opinion, December is about to be potentially a amazing month for the market. The housing market's opening up. I think people are maybe even getting a little optimistic with things right now. We're not involved in some massive war, even though we're always involved in some kind of wars, right? Behind the scenes. I think the U.S. right now is poised for some serious growth. And one thing Buffett has said about the markets is that they're overvalued. But Buffett, well, Berkshire Hathaway, right? Because Buffett is retired or going to retire soon. He's also always said, don't bet against America. So, I don't know. I think that we've got some good times ahead. But it's funny because as soon as the headlines read negativity, everyone becomes bearish on everything. The stock market, the housing market, Pokemon. So, for me, I would feel safer in a business. So, I'm somewhat detached from the reality of the world. I think because I have the privilege of having money that I can play with in the market, it's already there, and I'm already I've already stuck it out for years. And that should have taught me to watch my ass and not get burned. But running the business, there's liability, man. There's liability. Someone trips on the floor, someone slips and cracks their head open, they sue me. Okay? Someone drives home drunk, gets in a horrible accident. We're somewhat, where did they get served? Were they overserved? Should they have been turned away? There's liability everywhere you go, and you can't avoid that. You can't live life, worried about liability the whole time. But a bar is so much liability. And you have insurance for that. But the dream would be to sell the business once it becomes very profitable, sell the business, and then rent out to the new owners of the business in the building. That would be the ultimate goal. Go all in on GME, GameStop. Let's go. Even like a laundromat or something. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Multiple vending machines, laundromat. Now you are talking. That's how to run a business. Something that's actually like passive. Running a bar is not passive. You are going to get reviews. You need to know how to make drinks. And if you don't have good people that know how to make drinks and are star employees, then you have my situation where I've learned how to do everything myself. And our bar basically is successful right now because I'm in there. Once I'm out, I don't know if the magic continues, right? Which is why it's easier said than done to just run it and manage it. Jose, how we doing? Car wash, easy money. And then you have the maintenance of that machinery, or in a laundromat, the maintenance. What are some sustainable businesses that people can have so that they can live life a little bit easier? I know rentals is not something that comes to people's minds, but right now with the housing market opening up again and rates dropping again, this is an opportunity to maybe buy a rental property and finance it and basically rent it out and offset, pay the mortgage by renting it, and make a little bit of money on the side, but just get started. I genuinely believe for me, the future is going to be in rental property. That is most likely, to me, seems pretty passive. Yes, there are going to be repairs, but it's all about the right people that you get in there. I just made good with the lady that I'm renting with. We are on great terms right now, but would I have liked somebody that was a gamer that didn't give a shit about the house, that would just want us to be in a room gaming and left alone, and just will pay somebody to do maintenance and lawn care and stuff like that? Yeah, that would have been a better tenant. And I'm going to be a little bit pickier in the future with people that move in, but I do believe in it. And now that I've gotten 3 months of rent paid on time, on the day that it's due, that's, guys, $6,600 has come in. $6,600 in the months that it's been renting. That's nothing to sneeze at. That is nothing to sneeze at. My mortgage on that house, and I owe very little left on it, but my mortgage is like $700. It's a joke. So that money is real money. It's passive. It is a good long-term solution. And in my opinion, the property value itself is going to go up over time. Land is always going to be a great place to park some money, super traditional, but owning the land and then getting the rent money out of it is a win-win, if you ask me. And I think people should be looking to become homeowners right now and then should look to buy another house that's maybe even cheaper than their first home, or just buy shitty little houses and renovate them. And that's your whole business model. And hopefully you're with a partner that no offense to my own partner, Diana, but Diana wanted us to buy a big ass, fancy ass fucking house. We have no business being in this neighborhood. This neighborhood's insane, guys. This is why I've pulled back on buying so many cards. This is why I can't continue to just swipe on my credit card and buy crazy shit and pay it off. I can afford it, but not with my crazy bills here and with a mortgage here and my other mortgage, right? It's a lot. So if I could do it over, we would have continued renting out our other house, or maybe even stayed in it, and we would have bought a fixer-upper house for $300,000 and we would have rented it out, and we would have done that over and over again. I could have bought 2 houses for the price that we bought this house for, and I could have 2 more rental incomes, right? And especially if you're going to charge cheap rent just to get people in there, I don't know. Renting is going to be, doing rental units is the future for me personally. And I would like to buy them all in the same area code, so that way it's easy to go check up on all the properties. But that's my dream, right? My parents own property in Asheville, in Salisbury, in Charlotte. I don't fuck with that. I don't want to have property all over the place. I want to have property all central in the city that I'm in, making it manageable and easy to access. Yeah, the bar property, couple rental houses, that's it. I'm good. Um, my sister just went in on a property with my parents in Salisbury, and I'm just like, I don't know how somebody could go in on a property that they're nowhere near. Like I could never buy a property that I couldn't go to see whenever I feel like it. But that's just me. Um, GameCube is sick. Uh, Rima, how we doing? Jackson, any animal or object you want to see a Pokemon based on? That's an awesome question, dude. That's a fucking great question. Um, Damn, that's a really good one. Um, I think for me, I'm a big dragon guy. I would like to see more reptilian Pokemon, more dragon Pokemon. Um, Maybe something like kind of like a kimono dragon would be sick. Also, I have a bearded dragon. Something that emulates a bearded dragon would be badass. Um, I feel like that's kind of why I like Tyranitar. Um, Blue Hunters, what are some grails you recently obtained? So I have my briefcase downstairs, but we bought a and I have to make a video on some of these cards too, so I can't actually talk about everything. But the ones that I have shown you guys, we bought a PSA 10 Skyridge Gengar. We bought a PSA 9 Skyridge Gengar because I loved that card so much I had to buy it twice. I'm a nut job for buying another one, but I would probably do it again. I felt like the price was right considering what the market was doing. I bought yeah, two cards that I can't talk about yet. I bought two first edition Neo Genesis Lugias, but I sold one, and I intend on selling this other one because I'm not totally happy with it. Um, I bought we bought a Misty's Gyarados. That was a huge card. We bought a Giovanni's Nidoking. That was another fucking huge card. We bought Erica's Venusaur. That card is extremely low pop. I bought that one for 4,700 and it felt awful. God, it felt awful. And then people were immediately turning around to sell it for 8-9 grand. I bought Blaine's Charizard. I paid 7 for that one. That one's going for like 13 right now. Trying to think. Oh my God, Shinings. We bought Shining Tyranitar PSA 9, Shining Mewtwo PSA 9, Shining Celebi PSA 10, Shining Charizard we bought like not like recently, but not long ago either. Shining Charizard PSA 10, Shining Raichu we bought recently for 6 grand. That was PSA 10, NBA Gold Label. That was pretty cool. Jackson, Asher is already Pokemon ready. Ash in the name, I know, and that was not really an intention for us. We just Asher was a great name. It's actually a really popular name for 2025 for boys. Um, let's see. We also graded some stuff recently. None of it really did all that well though. Max from the anime, he was chill. If you made your own trading card game, what would you want it to be? Damn, that's a good one. I did that when I was a kid. I actually made my own cards when I was a kid. It got to a point where me and a kid friend of mine were like, let's do our own game. Let's do something incredible. Let's make our own rules. Let's do everything. Um, I was a very artistic kid. I loved to draw stuff. I loved Transformers and monsters and kind of making fusions of my own ideas and warriors. It would be just like Yu-Gi-Oh probably. Yu-Gi-Oh was a major inspiration for me. It would be dragons and warriors and wizards and monsters. Um, and I think, Magic the Gathering probably, paved a way for that. But yeah, it'd be something like that. Test print Magic the is rare. Turtle, what's the card that is most likely to exist in 100 years? Like maybe one that never gets graded and everyone always throws it out. Yeah, that's a good question too. That's how some of the cards today are considered rare. Thoughts on Defective Pikachu movie? Surprised they only ever made one live action movie. It's very shocking they haven't done more live action with Pokemon. I think they should. Um, I like any Pokemon movie. Any movie with Pokemon, I'm gonna like it. Even if I criticize it, I'm gonna like it. Detective Pikachu was pretty sick. Seeing realistic versions of Pokemon live action, that was sick. They need to continue pushing for that. Oliver, I would not recommend doing that. VR, I have that Game Boy Advance in the background. Yes, and I went on a Game Boy buying spree. I'm not proud of it. God, I bought so many fucking Game Boys when I could have bought Grail cards. Jackson, do you credit Logan Paul with any of the popularity of modern Pokemon when he got into it a few years ago? I give a lot of credit to Logan Paul. As much as people think he's a shitbag, I mean, he made Pokemon, he made it pop culture. I don't care what anybody says. He made it popular, right? There's going to be OGs in Pokemon that are going to be like, nah, Logan Paul did not make it popular. He fucked it up. He fucked the whole thing up. He might have fucked it up. You could say he fucked it up, but Logan Paul was a big reason of why Pokemon is where it is today. Let's be honest, guys. I think it's a big reason why it's popular. No Mew, VOX, how we doing? Hello there. Cardboard Nerd, glad I got the live, doing dishes and board. Well, I'm glad you're here too. Jackson, imagine you get a one-of-one prototype drawing of Rhydon, which technically is the first ever Pokemon designed. How much would you cry? Big time. I think Rhydon is actually a superior Pokemon design. It is phenomenal. And that being said, I need to get the first edition Brock's Rhydon, for Christ's sake. It's such a good card. It is such a good card. The colors are good. The drawing is good. Fantastic. And that's also like all the hand-drawn artwork is goated. Those artists are the goats. I don't care what anybody says. I feel old. 9.5 Mew for 600. Okay, that's pretty decent. If Trump mentioned a Pokemon as his favorite, would said Pokemon card surge? I'd be curious. I think it would. I think it absolutely would, dude. And that's something I could literally see Trump saying something about Pokemon. But man, he would get some serious criticism and hate. Oh. Came for Pokemon Talk, stayed for investment opportunities. He's only 12 minutes behind. I wish I get a Pokemon vending machine. That'd be fucking sick. Patel, how we doing? When is the next set for English release? Is it Mega Dream? I do believe so. Rare candy dispenser. Okay, catching up. Diana wants to spend Poké Dollars. Damn, you gotta faint. Many more bug catchers to get all them Poké Dollars. It's gonna be rough. Oh, here we go. I'm about to get canceled, guys. Turtle, I'm pretty convinced that women slow you down financially 90 to 95% of the time. I'm gonna table this one and just say without saying no comment. I plead the fifth on that one. If you know, you know. If you've been in long-term relationships, you know. It is our job to be the financial punching bags in a lot of respects. And that is a responsibility you take when you want a long-term relationship, when you want to go to sleep with a woman by your side, when you want to have beautiful babies, right? We take on these responsibilities and it is what it is. And, it could be very easy to say the grass could be greener. At the same time, there's a lot of people that have a lot of stuff and are miserable and are lonely. So I think even if I give Diana crap sometimes for purchases or overspending on groceries and stuff like that, because, oh my God, when we go to the grocery store, we get the craziest looks. People are always looking at our cart like, why do these people need this much food? Anyways, yeah, it's tough, man. You're telling me it's tough. Um, I see things for what they are, honestly, and not what I necessarily want people to think. I'll just add this. I love this house, but there's no way I would have had the balls to buy this house on my own. I needed someone in my ear saying, "This is the perfect place for us. We need this." And so again, if I would have done my own thing, I would have just bought other properties and I would have rented out other properties. And that would have been a much smarter long-term plan. And we would most likely be under more stress, but the long-term play out would be me making a salary, basically part of a salary, like 40 grand probably a year, 50 grand a year off of just rental income. That is nothing to sneeze at. That's something to be very, very proud of. And we can't do that now because we live in a house that's way above our means. That is something I could not have done by myself. That is something that I needed. I needed Diana in my life to chime in on to happen. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. I know it might not sound good, but that's all I'm gonna say. Bosco, is Pokemon a good investment on sealed? Maybe it is. Short term, maybe not. Long term, maybe it is. Maybe it really is better than the S&P and Nasdaq. I also made cards. I had a game called Fanto. One card was an Ice Panther. Dude, it's the best. Appreciate it, F86. True and true. I keep preaching that. He bought eyes and money from the masses. No matter how shitty he is. Right, I guess we're referring to Logan Paul with that one. Nido King and Rapidash had a baby and it's right on. Dude, I feel that. Retrump, Pokemon Ice Song was a thing. They did perioding on the OG theme. Yeah, that was horrible. I hated seeing that, honestly. Old news, but I did not feel like speaking on that with, I imagine there would be a lot of, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't think that was cool. I didn't think that was cool. I didn't think that it was right or okay in any way. And I feel for everybody in this country that is worried about getting pulled over on the side of the road, even when they're legally here. But we'll leave that there because I try to leave out any kind of politics or any kind of shit like that out of the streams and out of the videos. So it is what it is. Cruiser, Magic the Gathering or World of Warcraft? I think I'm going to go with Magic the Gathering on that one. Billy, yo, just tuning in. The GOAT is live. Let's go. Can you talk about Jim and Watsy? Sabrina's auction going crazy right now. Yeah, we did a little bit of that. Also, congratulations, Billy. My friend here, Billy, is big into the vintage scene, and we are set to do a co-stream one of these days and just chat about vintage cards. That'll be fun. That'll be chill. We have not done a stream like that in a minute, so that would be a nice change of pace. Also, in terms of Watsy, Watsy seems to be chugging along. Might take a breather these next couple of months. I just said breather, didn't I? Breather, might take a breather. I got a little bit of southern charm in me. But yeah, Watsy is chugging along and doing just fine. And the Sabrina's Gengar looks like it is going to tell us a lot about the Gengar market and how badly collectors want this card. My boy Billy just got I wanted to congratulate him. He just got a first edition Blaine's Arcanine. Absolute gem of a card. We saw one end in an auction for $3,700. Breaks my heart that I did not get that copy. Definitely regret missing out on that auction. But congratulations. Billy now has the Sabrina's first edition Gengar PSA 10 and the Blaine's first edition Arcanine PSA 10 and the Blaine's first edition Charizard PSA 10. Billy, you're crushing it. Also, he has the Aquapolis Tyranitar PSA 10. So many awesome cards. Might not even be good to talk about it on here. But those are just some of my favorite cards in his collection. No one should break the law in the ideal world, for sure. And, you know, I know what you're referring to with Ice. Yeah, again, I'm going to end up getting political, and I don't want to get political. I can't stand being political. Yeah, we have been live now for an hour and 10 minutes. My battery is actually, I do my streams on my phone, and my battery is about dead. So unfortunately, anybody popping out now might be in at the tail end of the stream. I wish you guys all the best Thanksgiving. We have about a couple of minutes left before the stream will probably crash from my battery dying. Caitlin, of course I ship to Canada. Why would I not ship to Canada? That would be blasphemy. So Seswan, people are, I guess so. People are pooping themselves right now. Maybe you're referring to the market dropping. Maybe you're referring to all-time new peaks for vintage cards. I'm not sure. Turtle, off topic, but what do you think of the Brian Johnson don't die movement? Do you think we'll actually be able to extend human life indefinitely, 30 to 100 years with AI superintelligence? I know exactly what you're talking about. That guy is kind of fascinating. He does look like a vampire, but he certainly is the youngest looking old person that I've seen in a long time. I'll just be happy if I still have my hair in 20 years. One thing I take is minoxidil for my hair. For any of you guys that are in this stream that care about your hair, want your hair to continue growing, shit works. I take it. I'm happy with the results. But stuff like that, of course, I think human life, the quality of life, especially if you're willing to dump money on yourself, the most important investment making is on yourself. I absolutely think we could extend life. I think people could be living to 120. So right now, it seems like 70 to 100 years old is about the kind of lifespan we're seeing in the U.S. That being extended could be amazing. Do people want to live that long is another question. I mean, it depends, you know, what your quality of life becomes, you know. He's living to 67. 6'7", 6'7". I know more than most it affects me personally, but there's no gray space. And right now, too many people have blurred reality. And Austin, I would 100%, like, we can talk about this for sure in private. And I think we probably even share some of the same ideals on some of it. But it's a sad situation. Anyways, Ratman, how we doing? He is a vampire. Jackson, does the Jay Witz give you nostalgia? He does to me. I don't know who that is. Seswan, I'm on minoxidil. And finasteride, I am also on finasteride. Okay, now I feel less embarrassed to say. Finasteride ain't cheap. God damn. And then I'm also on my thyroid medication, levothyroxine, which helps balance my thyroid levels, which has been pretty good. Holy crap. Here's a big one. What the are we going to do about health insurance? Holy crap. Guys, I'm about to just drop my health insurance. I have 9% battery left, babe. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was up 4 hours.
You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it'll be good. We'll have a good Thanksgiving dinner. Diana just came in here to stand and stare at me and tell me how stressed out Thanksgiving dinner is going to be, so I'm just trying to let her know It's going to be okay.
I need to go to
We will
Walmart
survive
tomorrow.
the
Is Walmart
season.
open?
I think that's the least of our problems.
Will Walmart be open tomorrow?
Walmart will most definitely be open and cleaned out tomorrow.
It's not like an advertisement.
Okay.
I have no idea who Jay Witt is.
At first, when I walked in, this felt like a doctor.
Pokemon polyamory. Turtle, I could do a lot. I could do a lot in 200 years. He's talking about the Brian Johnson guy who's like the guy who's like old but looks young. Has like a 20-something-year-old build, but he's like in his like 40s or 50s or something. You know, the guy who looks like a vampire. Anyways. Human life has always seemed too short no matter how long you live. Well, yes, time is relative. It does fly by. Which is why, in some cases, buy the shoes, buy the house, enjoy your life, because it does go by quick. And I gotta say, I'm under a lot of stress paying bills, but when I go downstairs to play video games in my new living room, and I feel like a baller, I really feel like, you know what, I could die tomorrow. This is good living. So I feel like when you're like in a hustle mode, you need a longer life. You need 100 more years to get more done. But I think when you're just content with life itself and you realize how grateful you are, how lucky you are, it's okay to know that you're leaving the planet in another 50 years, you know?
Are you gonna go downstairs?
I am going to go downstairs.
Okay, can we say
We can't live that long because 18 to 65-year-olds are supposed to support 0 to 18. Supposed to support 0 to 18. And 65 to 200-year-olds. The way that was worded, I'm just brain dead. Move to Canada. Healthcare is free. That would be a nice. At least your grandma didn't die. So my grandma did die actually recently. I mean, I don't know if you're commenting to somebody else, but yeah, my grandma passed away a couple months back. I actually didn't talk about it. It was super depressing. And you know, maybe that was part of the reason that I slowed down a little bit, is just putting life into perspective. My grandma was an amazing woman, and she was pretty much the glue of our entire family. Like all of our extended cousins and everything, everyone answered to my grandma. So now with her gone, no one's really talking anymore. So, but yeah, grandma passed away at a whopping 98. My grandma, I think, was 98. She almost made the 100 mark, but just my grandma went out in her sleep and she died happy. And my dad was by her side. So I feel pretty good about that. And my parents are getting really old. My dad's showing some signs of like dementia, which fucking kills me. My mom is like jokingly and meanly said that, but also it feels like it is somewhat the case. I feel like the older men are kind of the first, I feel like they're the first to go, right? They're the first to get rusty and slower. Women usually stay a little bit sharp longer. I have no doubt in my mind that Diana is definitely going to outlive me. For sure, the amount of stress and the amount of bullshit that I've endured in this lifetime and the amount of hustling that I've done, I would be fucking shocked if I make it past 75, guys. I mean, luckily with my genetics, I look young still. I look really young for being a 31-year-old. You know, I shave, I still look like I'm 17, you know, whatever. But, or at least that's what I tell myself at night. But yeah, dude, I don't even know if I want to live that long, man. I've had enough shit go down in my life. Enough trauma, enough stress. Some of us really are just happy with where we're at and what we've accomplished. And we're like, you know what, I think I can call it a day in 40 years. All that from the grandma comment. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Dalton. Turtle. You know, in places like Korea, the elderly work normal jobs. Like the average taxi driver is like 90 plus. I do not play Pokemon Sword. I did play Scarlet and Violet very briefly. Yeah, being old and lonely would be so sad though, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, Sizemore. Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, bro. Jackson, if Pokemon asked you to write a screenplay for the next live action, and it could be anything, would you accept? Oh my God. Of course I would accept. It would be absolute ridiculousness. It would be great. It would be like a rom-com, probably. It would be like a romantic comedy about two people and they have Pokemon that are the opposite types, like a fire and water type, right? Or like, fire and grass type or like some shit like that. And they like find a way to make it work, even though the Pokemon hate each other. It would be like some shit like that. That would be fun. No, my grandma passed away last Saturday. Tomorrow will be interesting. Sorry to hear that, bro. Also, I see the Instagram stuff occasionally, like about like life advice, and it's like the thing that kills us is not our diet, not our routines and exercise. It's just chronic stress. I'm inclined to believe that if you can find any way to de-stress, whatever your way of decompressing is, right? And drinking is, I don't think drinking is the answer. There's very few ways, if you get my drift, of relaxing and decompressing without any side effects really or negative long-term impacts. But I think go for it, right? Victor, yo, how we doing? Of course I remember. Sizemore, hey man, not alone at all about all that. Feel the same about it most days. We got some juice left though. One day at a time. One day at a time. Your grandma was based, so if she was 98, Pokemon has been in the world for 69 years of her life. She would have been 69 years old when it first released. Damn. Wow. Holy shit. My grandma was always in great shape too, so like, damn, when Pokemon first came out, my grandma was like fucking running shit. She was going on jogs every day. The goal would be to have everyone stay alive, right? No, I mean, it'd be great. Yes, Brock meets dude. Somebody better pay me. Somebody better pay me quick. Oh man, I actually got down to the last. Tai Chi is the blessed way. No, whatever. Some people wank off to PF girls and use drugs and alcohol to cope. That's no good. I haven't known how to just be like comfortable and just be since I can remember. And I don't know if that's ADD or OCD or what, but it's always been hard for me to just be present in general and like not have some kind of coping mechanism. It's part of the reason why my fingers are chewed up to oblivion. And I'm on my second kid now, and I've told myself I was not going to have my kids grow up seeing me bite my fingers. But clearly, I'm still stressed out regularly that I'm still biting the shit out of my fingers. Billy, you should get Brock's Ninetales to relieve stress. Oh my god. You should get a charger case for your phone. I know, at this point, I really should. Would you evolve if you could? Nah, I wouldn't evolve. I would be the Pikachu that stays Pikachu forever. I got one for my iPhone 11, and it's tripled the battery life. That's fire, bro. That's fire. I might have to look into that. Man, I can't turn my internal dialogue off, and I pick at scabs. That's my bad unconscious coping mechanism. What would be your Thunderstone? I have no idea. You guys are on one tonight. That would be fun. A charger that looks like a Pikachu tail. All right, guys, we have literally approximately 1 minute left. Phone's about to die. It has been a great stream. It went way longer than I intended. I was gonna do like a 45-minute stream because I gotta decompress and get ready for Thanksgiving, y'all. Gotta get ready for Thanksgiving, y'all. And you know what? You know, now that I think about it, I wasn't gonna make a video tomorrow. This is Thanksgiving Day. But maybe I will make a video tomorrow. Maybe I'll make a video tomorrow being thankful for the cards that I have in my collection. I might make a video like that and just like showing some of my favorite cards. I think that would actually hit the spot. And I think that's something that people need to see in the hobby. Also, it's been a minute since I flexed some nice cards. Everyone say your favorite Pokemon. Favorite Pokemon or favorite food? Let's go with favorite food tonight. What is your general favorite food? The thing you go to for comfort, the thing you do after a long, good cry, and the thing you do after you get broken up with. What is your favorite food? Go. Every ethnicity of human is just human evolutions. Bro, I'm dead. I am dead. Turtle, are you fucking kidding me right now? Jinx? That's what you got for me? I blessed you with this topic and you hit me with the Jinx? Jinx is out here working tricks. Jinx is out here working the street. I swear, Jinx legitimately, I feel like, is based off of something not good. The Pokemon food in the actual anime always looked good to me. I don't know, like any food. You guys ever feel that when you see food in an anime and you're like, fuck, they're like destroying whatever that is in the bowl and it looks amazing. It's probably just me. Sizemore, ribeye, and a sweet potato French onion soup. Wow, that was very specific. Good for you. Billy, chicken cardon, cardon bleu, and sushi. Take it. You know I'm with the sushi. I was in Food Line. I got some Food Line sushi yesterday. No regrets. Honestly, I feel like I could eat sushi every day. Except sushi is actually really probably terrible for you because of all of the toxins in the fish. Pizza's a strong bet. Lord Ronnie, that's racist. All the evolutions are different ethnicities of people. Yeah, canceled. I want to go camping and eat the outdoor boys' food. I love my jelly donuts made of rice. Damn, that sounds wild. If you know, you know. Jerky, solid snack. Just crying after a breakup, just chewing on a piece of jerky. That's great. Honey butter with bread, cooked on coals, looks dope as fuck. Okay. And sometimes it is that simple, right? A piece of toasted sourdough with some Amish butter sounds really good to me right now. I think that's what I'm gonna go for right now. Guys, remember, we have our Discord link as well. If any of you guys are in here and you want to pop into our Discord, we talk about shit every day. It's a place to connect. I'll still probably be on the Discord even after I go downstairs and start playing video games. Also, if you guys, my phone is about to die. If you guys play the new Battlefield, add me. I've been playing Battlefield 6 religiously and I'm getting nasty at it. Jackson, in the anime, they ate rice balls, and in the dub, said it was jelly donuts. Yeah, dude, any kind of rice ball, dude, this thing, like, the animes always make that food look fire. I know I wasn't the only one. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks for the stream. Absolutely. Absolute pleasure. I always love how intimate the streams can be. We have our tight group, and you know what? I think I should have expected a small turnout with Thanksgiving being tomorrow. But you know what? I'm motivated. We'll make a video tomorrow. I'm hoping. Tomorrow would be a great video to just talk about cards that I'm thankful to own, and keep it at that. Your earrings are hot, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate that. Usually I don't wear all the bling, but I just said, fuck it tonight. Rocking the bling. You got the clean, nerdy class style. But that is damn nice. I appreciate it, my guy. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Join the Discord link below. And I appreciate you guys coming out to stream. And I will see you guys next time. We logged an hour and a half tonight on 30% battery. That's not too bad. That says a lot about the newer iPhones, honestly. Yeah, we're like 90 minutes in, almost exactly to the T. Yo, Market, see you, man. Appreciate you coming out and just being an OG from day one. And we have just logged an hour and a half, guys. It is time to call it a night. Chinese kids are much more proficient. And with that, I think we'll end the stream. Peace out, everybody. I love you, Austin.